All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and drill into the survey settings from the very beginning. So um, before we get started, you have to have a project um, available, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and drill into our training project here. It's called Training Survey. Um, what you have to have is you have to have the project as a survey um, option enabled. So if you didn't have the survey option enabled, then it would be a database project, right? So in order for you to have survey settings, as you can see, when I uh, disabled this project as a survey, all the survey related options has disappeared from the left hand side. So let's just go ahead and look at the online designer. As you can see, we don't get any survey settings um, in this area. It should be here, but it's not because it's not a survey right now. So let's go ahead and go back to our project setup and enable this project as a survey project. So you just click on this button here. As you can see on the left hand side under data collection, you get this manage survey participants option. And of course, when you click on it, you get all these, this interface, which has more options for you to deploy your survey. Specifically today, we're going to be, or I'll be showing you information on the survey settings itself. So to get to the survey settings, once you've enabled the project as a survey, click on Online Designer. All right, as you can see here, we have, I have two surveys. Both of these both instruments are enabled as surveys. So let's just say if we let's just say we go and disable this instrument here, um, and it's not going to be a survey. So in order to enable the survey settings on the right hand side here, you have to enable the instrument as a survey. So the project is enabled as a survey, but also the instrument has to be enabled as well, so to make it a survey. Let's go ahead and just check on the survey settings for this first instrument or this first survey. Okay, so on the right hand side under survey related options, click on survey settings. And we'll be spending most of our time here today, again, just showing you all the survey settings that's related to a survey. So survey has a survey title. You can change the title here. And this title is then represented on your survey view. When survey participants are taking the survey, they'll see this title here. So let's just say that you have, this my first survey. They won't see this title or this instrument name. Rather, they'll see the title of this survey here. So let's see how that's reflected in our survey page, or how the user would see it. So we just changed the title. What you can do is to test the view, or how the user sees it. You just click on Manage Survey Participants, and then open the public survey link. So if we do that, you can see that that survey title has been reflected because I've changed the title. A lot of the other stuff is here. I'm just going to show you it in a second here, but I've just kind of enabled it. So let's go ahead and go back to the survey settings. Logo, you just saw that I have a big logo of this flower here, and you can change it to anything you want. You can even not have a logo, so you can remove this logo. So if we didn't have a logo, and maybe you can put a VCU logo if you had an official VCU survey of some sort, put a logo, or you can add anything you want. So some sort of picture or something like that. It's nice to have, but not really necessary, as you can see. So again, we're going to go ahead and save. And if we go back to that survey and refresh, we see that the logo has disappeared because we removed the logo. Again, it's up to you on your survey settings, but sometimes it's required that if you work for a certain department and you display departmental survey or collection instrument, then you have to have a logo, then obviously you would add one. But survey instructions, again, really it's up to the person or the I guess the project here, but survey instructions, this is displayed at the top for each survey. So as you can see here, please complete my survey instruction right there. All right. So let's go down. We've completed the survey options. Let's go ahead and go down to where you can customize some of the settings for the formatting of the survey itself. A lot of times, um, surveys can be very long, so it's not as readable to users. It's not as friendly. I definitely recommend breaking it up into sections, and you can accomplish that by enabling this option here. It says basically to have maybe 10 questions or survey questions per page, but you would do this at this moment here. So when you enable this, um, let's go ahead and see what happens here. Some certain items you have to turn on, so I'll go ahead and turn it on first, and then we can make the proper changes in the survey itself. So let's go ahead and save the changes. All right. Now in the survey itself, you have to have sections. These attributes on these fields, like this section here. Um, let's say that we didn't have one, we would need to add one, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and, this survey doesn't have any sections right now, so it'll just be a single page. So if I wanted to display subject ID, last name, first name, and email as one page, then I would have to um, separate it into sections. And then let's say I want date of birth, visit date, age on another section, I would have to kind of split right here. So let's go ahead and add a field. And then this field type, begin new section field, needs to be added. So section 2. All right, so let's go ahead and see how that looks like in our survey. All right, so as you can see, previously we had it on all one page. Now it's separated to 2 sections. So this is the first section here, and then the next page, second section. All right, so let's go. That's good. Let's go back into our survey settings. So that's where you would enable sections for your survey. And obviously you can have as many sections as you need. All right, so the next item is required fields. Basically, this enables it to show the required. If you have a field that's required, it can show this red text that must provide value. So let's see how that is reflected in the survey. Let's see. All right, so we don't have any required fields in our survey. So let's go ahead and turn a couple of fields on. So let's just say that first name is required, and if you hit say yes and save, we're just saying, hey, this first name is required. So and then we also enabled that on our survey settings to show that red text. See that? All right. So now we go ahead and refresh. You notice that the star must provide value is now shown. Okay. All right. So the next option will be allow survey respondents to view aggregate survey results. Again, this is only available, after if you don't skip it, basically. So let's just go ahead and enable this. You can see that it says that you can only choose either or, and I basically have it so that's already redirecting to another page, as you can see, google.com. So that's why this is popping up here. So let's just go ahead and choose this one, so that I should be able to kind of enable this now. What is that it displays a graphical plot, in this case a plot, or some other graphs to for the user to kind of see. But you can read from the description that you can have a minimum of 10 or whatever number you want. It's just basically in a survey, users can see where they're at in terms of what data they've inputted or answered, whatever questions, let's say male, female, percentages. We don't have any data, so I don't think it's gonna be pretty as far as display. Actually, it won't display it because we have less than 10 records. So, but anyways, you can try that yourself. So the next option is text-to-speech, and I've enabled this already. This text-to-speech is pretty neat because for accessibility wise, people that generally have issues with reading and not being able to read text and whatnot, they can actually hit the big speaker buttons to kind of hear the text, read the information to them. So let's see how that is. I've already enabled it, and let's just say for this survey here, you can just click on this little speaker here, and it'll actually read out my first survey. So it says my first survey in a very robotic-ish tone. And one can also obviously disable it, and that's option in the survey settings. You can enable it on by default, or you can enable it off by default. All right, let's go down to survey access. Expiration date, if you wanted to have this survey expire automatically in a certain time, because some surveys you can have it automatically start and fire it off at a certain date. Let's say you have to have the survey sent out twice a year, but you actually would like to stop it at a certain time afterwards, then you can have this option on. So at a certain time you can stop the survey automatically without having to worry about going back to the survey and stopping it. So expiring the survey disables end users from being able to take the survey, which is good sometimes. Save and return later. If you have this option on, it'll basically have an email field to allow the user to send the confirmation for them to come back to the survey later. So let's see if we can do that now. See how that works. We just enabled it. See that save return latest on. So let's just say that we enter some information here, hit the save return later, it gives you that return code. Now obviously it has to have an email for it to send to you, so you would enter your email here, and you can send a link to yourself to your email, or if you want to, you can just write this down and then you can come back to it next time. Alright, so let's move on to the next survey setting. Survey termination options. I actually have it on auto continue to the next survey. If you have multiple surveys, what happens is that if one completes the first survey, it would go ahead and fire the next survey. It's sequential. So if you have, let's just say we have multiple surveys here, like I have to enable this, by the way. So I'll go ahead and enable this. And now I have two surveys, two survey instrument enabled as surveys. So now I have two surveys. What happens is that when I complete one survey, it'll fire the other survey per this option here. So let's see how that works. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the back button here for this. Actually, I can't. Okay, never mind. Click on open survey. Let's just say I finished the first survey, see what happens. I should go to the second survey. So submit. you notice my second survey fired, and it basically is shown. And that's an option we just enabled to have the second survey or sequentially other surveys um, fired off. And then at the end, you can also have redirect to a URL. You can also have this, specific to URL like Google, whatever it is, but you can also have it redirected to a certain, maybe a certain secured area page or whatever it is you want. You can have it here. You can also pass it data. So let's just say, you need to pass it an ID of 123 into a certain web page, a certain API page. You can do this. You can just go type this in, and then you can just pass in, just like you do with piping, um, you can just append that information right there. And what happens is that information is then sent to Google or whatever API you have or site that you have. It'll append it as a URL string. Survey completion text, obviously, it's just end of the survey. You just thank them. Thank you for taking survey. So that is displayed once the person completes the survey. So if I make that change real quick and I complete the survey, I should have to have a new one. Let's see here. Well, we won't be able to see it. It would automatically fire into the next survey. So I would have to change the setting in the second survey. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate that into this first survey and turn this thing off so I can actually see it. Okay, does it make sense? So, in order to have this option seen, I would basically turn this thing off, because if I'm automatically going to the second survey, I wouldn't even see this. So let's just go ahead and finish the first survey and see how that goes. And finish. Okay, thank you for taking the survey. So that's good. Again, a lot of times you have to kind of play with not really, I would say test and not play. Test the surveys, test your survey to make sure that it does function as intended, because you have a lot of options here, and sometimes it might not go the way you thought it would, but you have to test it and realize the fact that it didn't do whatever it is you were thinking. So just test it thoroughly and make sure that it does what you need to do. Last option is basically to send confirmation to the person. So you can send a quick email to them if you want to, with attachments here, actually. Obviously, you can also pipe in some data from your survey. If you need to learn about piping or you have any questions, just click on here and it will give you all the information you need on piping. But that's pretty much it. And another option, last item I'd want to show you, just basically deleting survey. Deleting the survey doesn't mean you're deleting the instrument. It's just disabling or removing the survey op from the instrument itself. So let's just say we want this survey, the first survey, I don't want it to be a survey anymore. I just want it to be a normal database instrument. So what you would do is go in here and delete the survey. And you read through this, close, and now my first instrument is not an instrument again. It's not a survey anymore. It's just a normal database form. And so, surveys would not work on it anymore. Same thing as this, and I can go ahead and remove it. So now it's just a normal database form. This project, even though it's turned on as a survey, these are not used as surveys anymore. So no one can get to it. So if I click on this, actually I see, you notice that I don't have any option to be able to. It says you have to enable at least one instrument as a survey. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions, please write them on the chat and I should be able to answer your question. And if not, again, we will be posting this video onto YouTube, and so you can view it anytime you need or required or are curious about it. We have weekly training, and so next topic will be posted on the portal, and look forward to the next session. That's it. Thanks, and have a nice day.